Hi everyone, this is Networking in the Cloud, and welcome to my channel. This is another episode. I just want to show you something real quick. Many of you might be wondering, you want to isolate your VPCs, and you also want to have the same isolation even when you talk across inter-region peering. Now, let me break that down. Many of you already know about Transit Gateway, and you know about the inter-region peering. But let's say you, in a particular region, you want to have your VPCs isolated. You have a Prod VPC and you have a Dev VPC. You don't want the Prod to communicate with the Dev VPC. And in another account or in another region, sitting in another account, you have the same setup, Prod VPC, Dev VPC. You don't want both of them to talk to each other. And you want to have these VPCs communicate over the peering, but you want the same policy to stay the same. Prod VPC talks to, in region A, talks to Prod VPC in region B, and Dev VPC in region A talks to Dev VPC in region B. You want to have that, you want to have the isolation. So this is exactly what I'm going to show you. Many of you may be looking at this and say, I already know how to do this, and I just want to look at the routing domain. What was I thinking when I was doing this? You want to see how I'm separating the routing domain for these to be able to work, and the explanation between it, within it, rather. So you can just sit back and relax and enjoy this with me. And before I go into this, don't mind the video. I know it's a little bit dark, but that's not the main focus. I just want to put a face to the voice. I don't have the proper lighting and things like that. So you might just as well ignore that, and let's look into the console and see what I have for you. All right, thank you. So as you can see, I have my TGW in Highland, and also if you look at this, I have my another TGW in Canada. You can see this is Central Canada, and the first one here is Ireland. So I have the TGW sitting down here, and I've already set this up. I've already set it up, so you just have to bear with me. So I don't want to waste time, take you through all that configuration. But let's say you want to actually see how I build it up from scratch. You can drop me a message and I can just do that, depending if I see a lot of people wanting to see that. But it doesn't really matter. It's the same thing. I'll let you know how I was doing that. So, I create a transit gateway, and this is the transit gateway. So we don't have to wait for that to, go to pending up to the availability state. So after that, I have my transit gateway attachment. You see, I properly give them the name so that it will be easy, and you should properly name your resources so that it's easier when you're troubleshooting. I call this the prod attachment. When you're creating your attachment, you go into this, you see this, you create the TGW, you choose the TGW here, which is going to appear now. You choose the VPC, you give it a name, and you select the VPC. So I said this is going to be my Prod VPC, and this is the Dev VPC. So that's just that about that. So that's how I set the three of them up. For the peering, this is what you do. You go to the transit gateway attachment, you choose your transit gateway here, and instead of VPC, you choose peering. That's how you set up the peering to the other region. And if let's say I want to do the peering, I select this. It's going to ask me, is it in this account or in another account? If it's another account, I put the account ID of the other region there, and I select the region. But for the sake of, I don't have multiple accounts, so in this account, I'll give it the name, then I choose what region. So in this situation, I selected the Canada region, and I put the transit gateway ID of Canada. I put it in this place, and that's how I set up the, I'm not doing that. So that's how I came up with the peering, and the same thing goes for the VPC. And after that, I move on to the transit gateway route tables, which is very essential when you're setting up this kind of setup. So for the dev, I have the same way. I have the prod route table, I have the dev route table, I have the peering route table. Now, how does this actually, fit into each other? Before this, I'm going to also explain the VPC route table part for you, but let's just conclude with this. So I have my Prod VPC. You can see the Prod VPC here. In the association, I said, I want to associate my Prod VPC. In the VPC, I also named them properly. I named them very well. Let me see if I have that here. You can see this is the VPC. I'm still in the Highland region. So if I go to the VPC, so this is my VPC. You can see I have two VPC, the Dev VPC and the Prod VPC. Look at the ID again. This is for the Prod. It ends with 6A7. So if I navigate to my route table, you would see that I have the association in 6A7 for the Prod route table, the TGW route table for the Prod. So you can see the association. I have this here, 6A7. The same thing, I associate my dev VPC to this. And if you look at this, no propagation. I don't have any propagation. You can see the dev, no propagation. The peering route table, because you need to associate the peering attachment to a route table. Bear that in mind. So in the peering route table, this is where I said I need an association. I need a propagation rather. And what does the propagation does is this. It says, look at it. It says choose attachment to propagate. Now, this is not propagating into another route table. It is propagating into itself. So many people actually confuse this. They mix it up. So when you are saying you want to create a propagation, you are saying that, okay, now I want to propagate into the prod. I want to propagate a prod VPC into myself, not propagating into the other way around. It's just into myself. So that is exactly what is going on. And that's why you see under the peering route table is where we choose propagation, and we propagated the up VPC, the prod VPC and the dev VPC. Whereas when we go to prod VPC, no propagation. Exactly. So what do we do in this prod VPC? Is that if you go to the route table, we have a static route. Now, you might be looking at this IP address. I will show you by the time we go to the EC2 side and the VPC route table side. But this is Highland. We're still in the Highland region. This is for the Prod VPC. This is the network that I need to reach at the other end of Canada region. Canada region is having 172.16.2.0 network. That's the network I need to reach. For the dev, I need to reach. This is when I was testing, but let's say we have multiple dev, and this is one dev and this is the second dev. I need to reach both of these. Well, just pretend with me and see if you didn't see this. I'm just going to delete this, because the only network I have there is just the 20 network. So I have the 20.0/24. And sometimes when you do this, it doesn't go immediately. What you just have to do is to refresh. When you refresh, it disappears, as you can see. So that is what I have. The peering, because I've propagated the prod VPC and the dev VPC, at the routing, I have both of them. Now you might be thinking, oh, I only propagated 2 VPCs. Why am I seeing 3 network siders? Because in a particular VPC, I have a primary and secondary cider. That's why it's showing 2 of them. But the only cider I need is these, the first one and the second one. I don't really need the other one. So that makes sense, right? So that's it. This is for Ireland. So I just want us to finish with the whole of, okay, so let's go to Canada. We'll come back there. Let's go to Canada and see. It's almost the same thing. And if you go to Canada, this is Canada, you'll see my attachment. It's almost the same thing. Canada. In the Canada, you can see I have my TGW created. If we go to the transit gateway attachment, you will see that it's almost the same thing. So I have these, I can give this name, like I said, you follow what you preach, give it the proper tagging, and you see this can be peering link. So peering link is the same thing, just like I've explained, nothing to, there's no big deal about it. And we move on to the route table. Route table, you see the same thing, just the mirror side of what you're trying to do. The production VPC, it has its own association of this. The dev also has its own association of this. And if you look at this, no propagation still. In the prod VPC, there's no propagation also. But if you come to the peering, you see that I have two propagations. I propagated the prod and the dev into the peering itself. And if you look at the association has the attachment for the peering. That's it. And that's exactly what we want to set. And if you look at this route, because I propagated it, you can see that this is just two routes here. And if you look at the prod for the route, I have a static route going to the other side. Now, this is for the prod on the other side. Remember, the prod on the island side was 192.168. I'm sorry, 172. I think 17. Let's just check quickly. Yeah, the prod for the routes was for Canada prod was 172.16.2.0 for the Canada, but in Canada the island prod is 1.0. So it's just a mirror of it. And if you go to dev on the other side is 172.31.0.0/16. That is on the island side. So I'm trying to reach that. That's exactly what that means. So now you're all set up for, you can see there's no route leaking. The only situation where you might have a route leak is when you come into this peering and you say Canada, to reach the prod. You remember our prod VPC in Ireland was 192.168.1.0. Then I come in here, I create a static route, I put that in here. Then I've leaked the route. So this is where you can actually potentially leak the route, but we don't want to do that. That's not what we want to do. So then you can go to the EC2 to look at the instances that we have. And maybe before we go, okay, yeah, let's go to the EC2 so that from EC2 we can go to our VPC route table. So let's check the island EC2 first. So this is the island, as you can see, EC2 page. I have something called, just ignore the public. You can see the prod, the dev. You can see this is my prod EC2, and I have the IP address of these. As you can see that, I have the IP address of these 146 for the prod. And if you look at these, this is my subnet. Subnet is in spoke A subnet. VPC, excuse me, VPC is spoke VPC prod. And we just have to, let's look at the subnet, how it's like. So if we, just to be quick, I know I have a lot of subnets here. We can see the subnet ends, it starts, or maybe it's part of 49D3F000. So I think that would be easy to just fish out. So this is the subnet, which is this one. So we can quickly look at what we have in this subnet route table. You can see this is the subnet that we want to look into. So if we just check only that one, just to give us what we are looking for, the route table, you go to the route table, you see what I have here. This is the network prefix for the other side for the prod. And it's going to, I'm sending it directly to my TGW. And the default, I have my default going to internet gateway, so I can log into the EC2 and test. And like I told you, I have a primary and secondary CIDR, and that's why you're seeing two CIDRs here. And let me just walk you through this. The same thing is going to be for the dev. Say this instance, the prod is sending traffic. I'm sending traffic to the prod at the other end. How does the traffic flow? This is exactly how it flows. The traffic comes, into it's about to leave this EC2 instance. It checks into the route table. Oh, I'm going to this. Oh, okay. Send it towards the transit gateway. Then it goes to the transit gateway. The transit gateway takes it, which is this. It says the attachment. Remember that VPC, that's the Prod VPC. It has an attachment that has been associated to Prod route table. Now the Prod route table picks it. It says, oh, let me look at what I have in my route table. Do I know how to get there? It says, yes, you do know how to get there because you statically set it that if I'm going to 2.0, in this case is 2. Something, send it to the peering link. Now, the other end, it goes to the peering link, travel across the Amazon backbone, so it's very fast. It gets into this transit gateway. The transit gateway picks it. It looks at the attachment. Because, see, look at this very well. What attachment is this? OE5. And when it gets to this, it looks at this attachment. It was like, I have some kind of attachment. I remember I do have an attachment that says OE5. What routing table? What's that? Oh, that's a peering. And what routing table is that peering associated with? Then we look at this. Oh, this is associated to this. Nice. Okay, so what do you know how to get to something? It says, well, I do know how to get to 16 to something because I have them in my route. And it says, if you need to go there, go to this attachment, 6158. Now, if you go back to this attachment, what is 6158? 6158 says, is the prod. And that's how it just get it, package it, send it to the prod VPC in Canada. And the prod VPC, because that VPC, the EC2 instance for this instance, the prod is launched in the prod VPC. That's how, and this is 38. If you look at this attachment, if you look at this route table, yeah, it's there actually. You'll see that the VPC is 38, E38. So that's exactly how it goes. And the same thing works for the dev traffic, because I only, if we go back to this, the dev traffic is this. It says, what's my network? This is my network, E5. And if we go to where's that? Give me a second. Okay, the prod says, oh no, 1194. Where did I see E5? So it says 1194, this is it. This is 1194. 1194 says, let me look into my route table. What do I have? It says, oh, 20.0, it's going to the route table. 20.0 going to the route table, the transit gateway picks it. It says, do you know about how to get to 20.0? And it says, oh, I think I have the route. This is in this place going to this guy. Yeah, it's in the peering link, going to that guy. So it said, oh, okay, no, where's that? It gets into the dev, sorry. You know, I'm talking too fast now. So it gets into the dev and the dev said, oh, 20.0, this is it. I'm going to the peering link. And the peering link said, no problem. I just have that. I know how to get you there. So he sent it over to the peering link and the peering link gets it. It gets to this. The peering link is associated with its route table. It checks into its route table. I'm sorry if I'm too fast. It checks that and says, oh, I know you're going to this network, so I can send it to that other VPC. And that's how it goes there. So that's exactly how it happens. So if I let me just show you, if I bring up my command prompt to show you how it goes, so we can see that. So this is my command prompt. I've already logged into 1.146. So if you actually look at 1.146, what does that say? And this is the instance. 1.146 is the prod. That's a prod, yeah, 1.146. So if I'm to ping the prod in Canada, what is the prod in Canada? That is 2.6. So let's do that. is that 15? Okay, 16 2.6. You see, that's exactly how it should go. Now I'm logged into this place, I'm pinging the other side, and that's exactly what we want to see. So let's say you even want to try to ping the dev IP is 34. So if I pick this and I logged into the dev network, that's 34. And let's see what's happening. I'm just trying to log into so I don't bore you guys with the whole thing. I'm sure you all know how to do that, which is, so I'm in the dev. You can see I have an IP of 172.31.17.97, the same thing here. So if I pick that up and I'd say, let's ping all the way to the other dev. And what do we have at the other dev? We can quickly check that. I think this is it. So we have there to be 20.30, right? So let's bring that back up and we ping 192.168.20.30. And voila, that's it. So now let's do something. We want to see if are we leaking any routes. Now this is the dev in prod, right? This is the dev in prod. Let's try to ping the prod. What am I saying? This is the dev in Ireland. So let's try to ping the prod in Canada. Yes. So this is the prod in Canada would be, it can be confusing. 2.16, right? So we are logged into here. So if we ping 172.16.2.6, no way. It doesn't work. So this exactly is what I'm talking about. So thank you guys. I hope you enjoy this. Let me know if you have any other, troubleshooting session you want to see, and it will be right coming up. Thank you.